Hey IntelliTraders, it's Magic Man here. I wanted to make a video today of a setup that formed on a small time frame chart, but you can apply it to any time frame. Basically, I know this is after the fact, but I still think you can learn a few things from it as far as trend lines go. You already know that I love trend line trading, parallel channels, and even breakouts from trend lines. So anyway, you notice here, let's start watching right here where you see the cursor. You see a strong move to the downside, and you see the moving average cross down, and there's a perfect IT cross sell setup in here. If you're good enough to get that, that's great. Otherwise, let price do its thing, and the next thing you know, you have a swing high here that designates a change in trend because it's lower than this swing high. So now it's clear that we're in a downtrend, and you go ahead and draw this trend line as soon as that forms. So you draw the trend line from here to here and extend it all the way right. And what that does is it allows us to watch for the next time price touches this trend line. My first reaction is, okay, if price touches this trend line, I'm going to go ahead and sell it because it should act as a area of resistance. So let's go ahead and move it forward a little bit. So next bar here, you see that it hits the trend line. I'm an aggressive trader, and I don't usually wait for confirmation on continued trend trades. So I'm going to go ahead and sell it right here. And so I'm short at the 109.60 level, and you can see it goes against me a little bit. And at this point, this bar starts falling a little bit, and it's showing that, okay, this trend line, there is a little bit of resistance there, and it's pushing it down. So the sellers come in and push price down. And at this point, I'm watching closely because it can do one of two things. It can either do what I hope it does and follow this trend line and go ahead and drop down, and I can take profits, or it can do exactly what I don't hope it does, and that is find support at this what I thought was resistance. And if that's the case, it will use that as support and go ahead and bounce. So if I move forward bar by bar, you can see it's still hanging on that trend line, and there's nothing for me to do at this point other than right now I notice that 3 bars later, price still isn't really dropping. It's kind of hanging out at this trend line level, and that makes me think, okay, this trend line isn't as heavy of resistance as I hoped it was. Price is maybe poised to bounce, and if that's the case, then it should be a strong move up because this trend line is acting as support, so it shouldn't make a new low unless it falls pretty quick here. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Price moves down a little bit, but these candlesticks are not convincing me because you see the candlestick open up here, it goes all the way down here, but it's still bouncing, and it's not closing at the bottom, it's closing near the trend line. So these are bullish candlesticks, making me think that it's going to bounce at this time. So yes, I'm short from 109.60, but I'm stocking this down at this point because I just don't trust that it's a very strong move down. I think it's going to maybe bounce at this point. So if I'm aggressive, I may I may go ahead and take profits here, or worst case, as soon as the next bar makes a high that's above this high of this bar, I'm going to go ahead and get out and switch my position to long with a tight stop right below the bar that makes me get long. So let's go ahead and see what happens. There you go. Okay, so as soon as this bar breaks above here, I switch my position to long. So the beauty of this type of trade, the reason I like it, is because we're at a key point here on the trend line, the one we drew way back here. We know that there's support or resistance there. We don't necessarily know which one it is until after it happens, but what it allows us to do is put a really tight stop. So I'm long right in this area right here, and the beauty of it is I can put a stop right down here, which is great. It's very small risk given the profit target, which really the first one is right here in this level, and the next one is all the way up here, which is great. So let's go ahead and move forward. And we get a lot of action here. It's going up, it's going down. The market can't figure out what it wants to do, but you can see our stop loss is down here. Price goes down, but it doesn't hit our stop loss, and it does hold this swing low, which makes me think, okay, maybe we're switching to an uptrend because it found support at the trend line. Fast forward, now we're getting a move up. Price is coming down. I'm still got my stop down here. What I'm waiting for it to do is make a convincing swing low that allows me to move my stop loss up. Otherwise, price will continue down. I'll get stopped out for a small loss, but that's the worst case. Okay, at this point, price has made a new swing low here, so I can move my stop up here, which is getting closer to break even. And if I'm an aggressive trader, I will go ahead and take profits here at the test of this swing high. Otherwise, you're staying in. You have your stop loss down here, and your first target, like I said, is right here in this 11.15 area, right over in this. And there it goes. It gets hit right there. So we'll go ahead and just, for the sake of it, see where this ends up going. As you can see, a very strong move. It found support right at our trend line. Small risk, long trade, which is all you can ask for. That's great. And price just shoots up, which is, it even hits the second target. If you were carrying multiple contracts, you would have held on to half of them, or maybe not. But either way, it's a great trade. It's one of my favorites because, like I said, you can get in the trade with very small risk, and either way, you're going to know pretty quickly if you're right or wrong, and that's my favorite thing.